All right, so today we're going to talk about topic 2G, which is writing the equation of a line given 2 points. So this is going to be a little bit just a little bit different than topic 2F, where we talk about the equation given a line and the slope. So just keep that in mind here. But it's going to be very similar. We're just going to have to do one more step. All right, so given that we're given 2 points here, we know that in order for an equation of a line, we got to have y equals mx plus b. That's the given. We've got to have that. So we need to know the slope, and we need to know the b value, which is the y-intercept. So we've got to find both those things. Now, with this, we're just given 2 coordinates. So we don't have the slope, and we don't have the y-intercept. So we need to find these. Okay, so first, I'd like to just start with the slope, okay, because this is what we practiced off towards the beginning. I think it was topic 2B where we talked about this. So we need to find the slope here between these 2 points. So you got to remember here, we need to find the change in y over the change in x, okay? Because that's what slope is. So change in y over change in x. So with that, for the change in y, you got to remember that you subtract the y values. So negative 7 minus 3. Okay, sorry, I'm writing on top of it. I'm going to run out of room if I don't. So, but you subtract the y values. So negative 7 minus 3 on the top for a change in y. And the change in x, you're going to do negative 9 minus a negative 4. So this is just like we were doing before when calculating slope. So we're going to do those. So talking about the top here for the change in y, negative 7 minus 3 is a negative 10. So for my slope here, I'm going to go to the bottom here. I'm going to continue to write in red here. My change in y is a negative 10 on the top. And then negative 9 minus a negative 4. Well, the negative minus a negative turns to positive. So we end up doing negative 9 plus 4, which is a negative 5. So that's my change in x. So I'm going to put a negative 5 in for my change in x. Now, this is why we talk about reducing slope. So we need to make sure we reduce the slope here. A negative 10 divided by a negative 5, well, that's just a positive 2. So that's our slope. This is our m value. So just like we did, now let's go ahead and sub this in here. So we're going to have y equals m, which is 2, x plus that b value we still don't know, so I'm going to put that in yellow here. So we need to find this b value. Well, this is just like what we did in the previous topic in topic 2F. Let's pick one of these coordinates. Okay, so we're going to pick one of these coordinates. It doesn't matter which coordinate you pick. Okay, I always like to pick the smallest numbers or the easiest numbers to use. So I'm going to circle here. I'm going to use negative 3 comma 4. Okay, so we're going to use negative 3 comma 4 for this one. You could use negative 9 comma negative 7, but you should get the same answer. You just have bigger numbers, but your b value should be the same. Okay, so doing this here, we know negative 4 is the x, so we're going to put that in for our x, and we know 3 is the y, so we're going to put that in for our y. So solving this problem now, we're going to have y, so that's 3, equals 2 times x, which is negative 4, plus b. That's going to be our thing. So this is just like we were just doing before in the previous topic. So we got to solve for b here. So in order to do this, we're going to do 2 times a negative 4, which is a negative 8, and it's still equal to 3. And then we have our plus b. So then we got to get b by itself here. So we're going to have b equals, you add 8 to both sides, add 8 to both sides, so you get b equals 11. Well, now we have the y-intercept. Okay, so now we have the y-intercept. So I'm going to erase here my slope stuff. So let's write out the equation now. So we're going to have y equals, that changes back to a y. Make sure you leave that as a y. Our slope we found was 2. So we're going to have 2, and then we're going to change it back to an x, because we need the variable x. And then our y-intercept, which is a plus 11. Okay? So there is the equation given 2 points. This is the equation that will go through both of these coordinates. Okay? This is the line that if you graphed it, it would go through exactly these two. All right. So what I want you to do here first is, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to write the equation on the line. But what I want you to do first is find the slope. Okay? So take the time now to find the slope for this problem. Okay, so you can see here now, I have solved for the slope, so I found my change in y over change in x, so I subtracted the y's on the top, and I subtracted the x's in the bottom. And you can see here over on the right-hand side here, m equals 1 divided by a negative 1, which equals a negative 1. So that is our slope here. So we know for an equation of a line, we're going to have to do y equals mx plus b again. Okay, we know that the m, our slope, is a negative 1. So it would be y equals negative 1 x plus b. So we need to solve for that b value again. Okay, so now you're going to pick a point. Does it matter which point you pick? No. Okay, So pick a point and solve. I'm going to tell you that the point that I'm going to use is going to be the one on the left, so 3, 4. Okay, so I want you to try that now. Try solving this, and when you're ready, please resume the video. All right, so you can see here I drew a little green arrow off to the side here, off the side on the bottom part of the screen. I went ahead and I put 4 in for y because that was my y value. And then I put 3 in for x because that was my x value from it. So that's from the coordinate that I picked that I circled in green. So you can see 4 is in for my y, 3 is in for my x, because it's x comma y from a coordinate. And then I solve for b just like we were doing from an equation. So solving an equation. And you see that I got b equals 7. Now you got to remember the last thing you do is you go back and write the equation. So the equation of this line is going to be y equals, our slope is a -1, okay? And then we have our x, and then we have our 7, which is a positive, so then we're going to say plus 7. And there is the equation. Now, you could also rewrite this one more way, so I'm going to move all the way to the right here because I'm running out of room. You could also say y equals a -x plus 7. That would be the same thing as well for that one. All right? Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to solve this one all by yourself. So first, remember, find the slope. Okay, find the slope first. Then use that slope, pick a coordinate, and solve for the b value. So for this one, remember that it's probably easiest if you pick the smallest numbers. So I'm going to give you a hint here. Okay, I would pick the coordinate 4, -2 for this one. Okay, when solving for your b value. So remember, first, solve for slope. And then second, find b, find your y-intercept. And then third, write the equation out. Okay, so these are the steps that you're going to want to do. Okay, so try this one by yourself and make sure you enter this answer into your Edpuzzle. Okay, enter this one in.